Hi, welcome to my channel. I wanted to make this video as a quick reference guide, so if you're ever watching one of my live streams or just another video that has clips in it, you'd be able to see the tools and materials that I use on a much more detailed level. Now I just want this to be a disclaimer that this is my process and my tools. I'm really hoping that it helps other people experiment with some of their processes or materials that they might want to try. However, if something doesn't work for you, you don't have to use it. This is not the end-all be-all list, and I am definitely not the absolute expert and professional here. Feel free to try and experiment with any of these things. I think it's really important to find the things that work for you, because again, some things might work for me and they might go horribly for you. Some things might work for you and not work for me, and that's totally okay. It's all worth experimenting with and finding your own process. That's one of the reasons I wanted to make these videos, was to help get my process out there in order to help fill holes in other people's processes, because others have done the same for me and it's really helped me. So hopefully this is helpful.
Now, I do use Breyer horses about 95% of the time, so that is the majority of what you'll see on my channel. If you are doing any sort of customizing with Breyers, I highly recommend getting some of these gloves. These are my cutting gloves, but I do use them for my heat gun as well. They're not as good, but they have saved my fingers and my hands from scrapes and burns. Now, I don't use Dremel cutting blades. Honestly, they kind of scare me, so I do a handsaw. I have different size blades, so they are recorded in teeth per inch. This is a 14, which is what this handle comes with. But I did get some of these 18s. They're a little too small, so I'm kind of experimenting with numbers on that one. Please, please, please use gloves. Don't get the one size fits most. That's where a lot of people go wrong. Find gloves that fit you. I use medium. Please use gloves. I know some people have issues with super glue and baking soda. I use this brand and I have not had an issue. I always get the liquid kind. They got new packaging recently, but I'm very particular about my super glue. And this is my baking soda box. It's just a Tupperware of baking soda. And I have a brush that is really, really messy, but it helps me get into the crevices, so it works out really well. I use insulation foam inside the horses. Make sure it's something that goes to like 3 inches, not the window stuff. And I do have 2 different Dremels. This is my handheld, and I just bought a corded one. My handheld kept dying, but both of them have worked out great. Like I said, I don't use them for a cutting wheel, so I just use them for sanding. This is kind of a new product of mine that I've been using. This is Freeform Air by Smooth On, and I've been using it as base layers, and it has been fantastic. I use epoxy sculpt for the final layers. As you can tell, these are a little messy, but I only use natural. I know the other colors kind of do different things, but I've always used natural, and I like how it works, so I've never really changed that. My stick I use for epoxy, and pens to mark on the horse later. These are some of the tools that I use for my epoxy, and they're just silicone tip, and as you can tell, they're very well used. But I mostly use my fingers and just any of these silicone kind of tips. I have one that's kind of a cone shape and one that has more of an edge on it, and I have a big set and a little set. So these are kind of the shapes that I have found that I like the most. I did put a paper clip on the end of this one to use it as like kind of a scraper, but I don't use that too much. But it is there if I need it. And an X-Acto blade is always needed, so I have one on hand. Arguably, these are my most important tools. These are paintbrushes that are so messy, but I use them for sculpting and blending, as well as a final smoothing. So they're in various forms of kind of grossness, and they cycle through. As they get grosser, they become the gross set, and then I end up throwing them away. So you'll definitely see a lot of really weird paintbrushes. And a lot of people ask about acrylic rods, so these are the ones that I bought many years ago, and I have not used all of them. So I just got them off Amazon. You can look up acrylic rods. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment below and I will try my best to help you out. And if you already customize horses, feel free to comment below if your materials differ than what I use. I know some people use Magic Sculpt versus Epoxy Sculpt or something like that. But feel free to talk about what you use and what has worked really well for you, or where you might have struggled in the past as well. I really hope that this list was helpful and is a good reference for future videos, but as always, be brave and have a lot of fun on your sculpting journey.